Step 2, the Pinterest board. Now, the Pinterest board is kind of like my visual version of the questionnaire, where I get to really see what they want creatively and visually inside their head. A lot of the times my clients will tell me, oh, I really want a minimal, colorful, and fun brand. But when they tell me they really want a minimal, colorful, fun brand, that can mean something totally different to them than it does to me. And so I need to see an actual example of what they feel like they want their brand to feel like. Here's how to make sure that your clients actually make a Pinterest board the way that you want them to make the Pinterest board. Ask them to make 2 boards. I have them make 2 boards. I have them make one Pinterest board full of overall inspiration and one Pinterest board full of direct industry related inspiration. The reason I have that is because a lot of the times if you mix the 2 boards, it can get confusing, as opposed to like, oh, I only liked this about that or this about that. I like to have one board that's just related to industry design inspiration, so that I can kind of see what they're expecting for me to execute in the end. And then the other one to just get a feeling of what they overall really want their brand to feel like. So board number 1 is the overall inspiration board. Now, why do we actually need this board, and what's the purpose of it? I like to pull overall more subtle pieces of inspiration from this board, and to see really kind of like what's going on inside of their soul. What's really inspiring to this person just besides design. I'm able to pull so many more things from this board that maybe my client didn't even realize was an option. Maybe they have like lots of fuzzy sweaters on their inspiration board, and so then I'm like, ooh, let's pull lots of fuzzy texture things or those types of shapes, whatever it may be. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I already talked about that one. And I get more ideas for adjectives to use when I'm finalizing their brand, that we'll talk about in phase 2. There might be more adjectives I find here. See things that aren't being said. A lot of the times things are hard to communicate over words, and a lot of people are just visual communicators. You never know whether or not they are. So what can you find on that Pinterest board? Lots of things. Basically anything that is not related to your specific industry. We just want to see overall inspiration, anything and everything. Pinterest board number 2, which is direct design inspiration. These are going to be specific sources of inspiration that are really related to my industry. Specifically, this really works for graphic design. This is where I like to see people that are like, oh, I really like these fonts, and I really like these colors, and I really like these layouts. Because there's so many of those types of things, I want to group that all in one board. So a few important things about both of these boards is they should not draw inspiration from their competitors. I used to see all the time my clients taking things from the competitors, and we want them to be different from them. So there's no use in drawing inspiration from people they want to be different than. Pick and choose what it is that you would like to draw inspiration from. Just because they create this whole Pinterest board full of inspiration does not mean you have to use that whole inspiration board and creating a mood board and creating whatever it is that you're creating. You don't have to. You can just pick things that you like and group them together. I always tell my clients when to create this board that they should be very, very, very picky about what's going onto their board. And I'm like, if there's something that you don't totally love completely, write it down on the comments. Tell me what it is that you love and what it is that you don't love. Otherwise, I could draw anything from that image on that Pinterest board, and who knows what I'm going to draw. Maybe I'm going to draw the thing that you don't like about that image into your brand, and then we have a miscommunication. And there it is. Note in the comments of what they like and what they don't like about those pieces of inspiration. Okay, so now that you have the Pinterest board, how do you interpret the Pinterest board into what you need it to be? Okay, I have another worksheet for this. And in that worksheet, you are going to fill out and write down any adjectives that you feel that this inspiration board can be attached to. Things that stick out to you. Again, there doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason for why they stick out to you. That's just your unique special power. Things that need clarification. Things you want to keep asking clients about. Patterns that you see. This is all very similar to the questionnaire. Now, things, I want you to write down things that surprised you and why. When you read the questionnaire first and then you go to the Pinterest board, I notice sometimes I'm like, whoa, something's not matching up, or I'm surprised to see this in there. Write those down and make sure to ask your client about it. Kind of go into that, see if there's anything that conflicts one another. Maybe it's not the questionnaire and the Pinterest board conflicting each other, but maybe it's two images that don't seem to go together. That might be a really great thing to pull together and to connect. Then I want you to write down, how does their visual inspiration connect to what you know about them based on their questionnaire, and how does it not connect? Write down those two answers. And then any shapes, lines, or colors that you can pull from it. This is kind of what I was talking about with the little sweater example. So a quick note about the Pinterest board. During the Culture Creating Live session, I always briefly go over the Pinterest board with my client, and I just basically verify everything that's going on inside their head. I'm like, this is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the same thing? This is what I like about it. Is this what you like about it? So that you can ask those clarifying questions and mention to them what sticks out to you about it. So what did we learn today? We learned how to make sure your clients do create the board in the right way. We learned that the Pinterest board is there to help you clarify and get a visual heads up. We learned the two different Pinterest boards, a regular inspo board and a direct design inspiration board. And then we learned how to interpret the Pinterest board.